For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. Excuse me, birthday boy Jeremy Bradley here, joining you on the show. Well, not birthday. Actually, it's a couple days. But I'm turning 41 years old. And I feel great about it. You know, we had Bonnie Winters. We had our executive producer on the show a few months ago now, I guess. Her birthday was in the spring. But, you know, she's in her 60s. And she still refuses. Like, I know how old she is because I'm her boss. And so I've seen the paperwork. I know, like, and I've worked with her for... We've worked together, I guess, 18 years, Bonnie, right? Look through the... She's not even looking. Bonnie... Are they? They're not. Nobody's listening. Hold on a second, everybody. Can people look at me from across the? They're in another room and behind on the other side of glass. They're not even paying attention to me. Screw you, then, you old grandma, you old coot. There we go. Now I got her attention. Bonnie. Oh, forget it. Wow, we're off to a great start. My staff is ignoring me on my birthday, ladies and gentlemen. But the whole point of that story was. Bonnie just still refuses to tell people how old she is. And I remember I called her on her birthday on the show. And I said to her, what's going to be the age when you're going to say, I'm proudly such and such years old, right? Because you got somebody like, you know, Jane Fonda. She's proud to be 85. Carol Burnett, proud to be 90. And some people who embrace it and say, hey, you know what? 60 is sexy and I'm 60. Bonnie will never do that. I think she said it was 80 or 90. I was going to ask her, but she's not paying attention. And so for me, when I turned 40, you know, you have that whole... over-the-hill joke, right? Oh, happy birthday, Grandpa. Oh, you know. And I mean, I do that too, but it's more just to be silly because, I don't know, I'm funny and I just like to tease people. So with me, I've never had a hang-up about my age. So for people to make fun of me, I'm kind of like, well, I still look really young. I have no health troubles. I'm physically active. I've got a hot husband and we've got a great sex life and you know, I don't feel 40. I feel young. I feel good. So people last year making fun of me on my 40th birthday, it was just sort of like, but I look younger than you, or I am younger than you and I look younger than you, or I'm older than you and I look younger than you, or whatever. You know, I have a very youthful face. I've got great skin. I always joke about that with my team. I'm like, look at this. I don't use filters or anything on our pictures when we post stuff. It's all natural. I've got very good skin. I've got, you know. And so for me, like, turning 41, I'll tell people I'm 41 years old because people don't believe it, right? And so that's where I've always had this question with people is, you know, when you're younger, you want to look older, right? Because you don't want to be ID'd when you're buying booze. You don't want to be, you know, because you don't want to feel like a kid. And then you get to this weird point where you want to be younger again, right? So what is that age where now you flip it and go, I don't want to tell anybody my age. Nah, I want to be younger. I don't want to tell people my age. What is that for you? Send me an email. live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. So that's what we're talking about for the next 30 minutes. It's birthday chatter and just having a lighthearted look at getting older because it's not a bad thing. It's really not. It's on the Scribble and it starts right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now, it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
JB here, birthday boy, JB here, back on the... I've always hated when people do that, when they wear like a... Usually it's somebody gives you a button that says, it's my birthday or birthday boy. But I worked at a place, this is a long time ago, that somebody came in basically like celebrating their own birthday. Essentially like decorating their own desk and you know, kind of like throwing themselves a mini party at work, which it was sort of sad to me because it was very attention seeking. It was very... I want people wishing me happy birthday. And then you've got the other people. I'm one of those people where it's like, just carry on with my day. Like, it's a birthday. If we go for lunch or something, fine. But, like, because, again, I don't embarrass easily. So, for me, like, if you were to decorate my office or something, it's like, you're just wasting your time because it doesn't, you know, like, I don't care. And I'm never here anyway. So, there's a good chance that I just wouldn't even show up on my birthday anyway. So, you just wasted all your time. But one of the things that I said when I was younger, I was probably 20... Hold on a second. How old was I when I started Top of the Charts? Tim, again, nobody's listening, so whatever. Tim was our producer on Top of the Charts, our syndicated Top 40 music show back when it launched. It was 17 years ago now. How old was I? So do the math for me, you guys. 41 take away 7. I was 25 years old, around-ish. So I remember working really, really hard, and it was in 2010. Now I'm going to get serious. It was 2010, 2011 when we had the biggest audience we had. I was making a crap ton of money. I was making a lot of money. And this is one of those things where you're supposed to feel bad if you've had success. And like, I'm not bragging about it. I'm just giving you the status of my life at that point was I was easily making six figures as, you know, a 20-some-year-old broadcaster who started out in his parents' basement, and then we ended up I started a company, and then we licensed content, and we syndicated content, and we just did really well. And so I had a shit ton of money in my, I guess, late 20s then at that point, and I said to myself, and this is where my staff, Bonnie, my accountant, Raylene, a couple other people said, you're never going to retire early because you are always creating, you're always writing, you're always hosting, you're always searching out the next interview, you're always doing something. You're taking on like 3 or 4 different jobs at once, because when I started hosting my radio show, I was still doing office jobs as well. That's how I met these people. I worked at a publishing company. I was a magazine editor. And so I was doing stuff when I was living with my parents, and then I had a daytime job. And I was working, 18-hour days as a 20-some-year-old. But as an entrepreneur, that's what you did. We didn't have the luxury back then of instant audience and instant fame on social media. You really had to slug it out. So for me, all of a sudden I've got this success, like almost not quite overnight, but really, a few years into doing what I was doing. And I said, I want to retire at 40. Everybody's like, no, you're not. And so when it came time for the 15th anniversary of our show, Top of the Charts, 15 years is a long time. Now, really, I mean, if you didn't listen to the show, it was basically 2 hours of music once a week. And then I had a country music show as well. So what we would do is we would tape Top of the Charts first, 2 hours. And towards the end, I was phoning it in, I'll be honest. I was phoning it in at the end. That I would just tape my segments, boom, boom, boom. They would give me the list of songs that were on that show. I would just come in, I would record, 6 or 7 different, 3-minute blocks, and then I was done. Like, it used to be that I would listen to the music in real time, and then I would do... No, after I didn't give a shit. I totally checked out. And so at 15 years, then I was kind of like, you know what, that's a nice number to sort of end it on. I was 39 at the time, so I wasn't quite 40. It was also during the pandemic. Now, the pandemic had nothing to do with our programming because we still produced everything just as we would have. It wasn't an issue. But there was also just something where, people weren't listening to the radio as much because nobody was, people they weren't commuting, so you weren't listening in the car when you were going to work, or you weren't listening at work. You were working from home, so you had your TV on or whatever it was. And so it just, and then I also started to hate the music that was coming out. Like, I just didn't like this all computerized and everything is just all, it's not singing anymore. It's more just like, I don't know, you know what music is like now. So all of these artists were coming out on the scene. I had no idea who they were. I didn't know what their songs were. Now, the songs were on the show, but I would look at the names. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. But apparently the song is hot because we're playing it. So there we go. So what it made me feel... It made me feel really old and out of touch, but at the same time, I was okay with that because I had no interest in the music. I had no interest in these housewives shows and everything that, or the what are the ones on TLC, like where you're marrying your cousins or your, you know the ones I'm talking about, right? Married at First Thank You. They're telling me this. That's what happens when you get older. You get people just telling you the information. No, I don't even have to think. Just tell me it and I'll repeat it. But you know those TLC shows that are about the the families and the drama, or the housewives shows. And so I just had no interest in watching them. And then I was kind of like, well, that's what my audience is watching. And I've never been on Netflix ever. We had a media account, basically. They gave it to us free. They gave it to me for free because I was a broadcaster. They wanted me to check out things so I could talk about shows and whatever. I've never, ever once been on Netflix. Ever. I've never used a streaming service. We still have regular cable in our house. We cover the main network shows. So, I tweet Bachelor and Bachelorette or whatever still. But I've never used the streaming services. So that's where I was kind of like, I'm just falling out of touch with my own audience. And that's okay. And I always felt that too. There was a radio station in Winnipeg, my hometown, when I was growing up. It was, again, the bubblegum kind of pop music. And the morning duo they had, it was actually three of them, Bo, Tom, and Des. And so they were getting older. They were in their late 40s, then they're in their 50s. And they're talking about Britney Spears, and it just seemed so out of place because you knew that these people had no interest in it. Like, you knew that they didn't care, but that's what your audience was, so you had to give it to them, right? And so that's where that's when I kind of realized, you know what? I think it's just time to check out because I'm not relating to my audience. I have no interest in what they're doing, and it shows. And then I used the term already, you're phoning it in at that point. So 15 years seemed like a nice round number, and so I had hoped that maybe I would still have an interest in it when I was 40, so I could do like a big 40th, broadcast or whatever. But I was just like, no, I'm kind of done with it. And so I then, quote unquote, retired after Top of the Charts. And by that, I mean really, really pulled back on the work. I wasn't doing morning show calls anymore because as an entertainment host, as a syndicated radio host, I was also the entertainment correspondent for a lot of the stations that were broadcasting our shows. So I would then, because let's say my show aired Tuesdays at 7 p.m. or something, or midnight or on the weekends, well, that audience knew me, I would hope, and so I would be on the weekday morning show, and I would do a 3-minute entertainment segment, and then we would promote that, remember to listen to Top of the Charts with Jeremy on Saturday at 2 or whatever. So I was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all, and I was running myself ragged. And when you're an entrepreneur and you have that success and you have that energy, you don't mind doing it. You really don't. But it's once you pump the brakes, once you put a little slowness into it, you slow down a little bit, then you're kind of like, wow, I really enjoy this. So what happened was, it was 2021. It was supposed to be April was going to be the sign off of our show because that would have been exactly 15 years. But I was kind of stubborn because all of my projects, and this is where it's going to sound like conceited and cocky, but all of my projects have succeeded. When I wrote a book, it turned into a bestseller, and then a newspaper column, and then I was the special cheapskate, correspondent. And then when I have this one radio show, it turns into a country music show, and then it turns into a podcast. I have, I wrote an erotic novel. Our company published a porn book, basically, a porn novel. And we then turned that into a swimwear and underwear company. And that's had the best sales this year than it has in its 4-year run. So I haven't had, I don't know how to describe it. I haven't had a project really stop. We've always had so many things happening at the same time. And I've loved it because they're all successful and they're all going. So this was kind of the first one that I pulled the plug on. And I guess that's where I was a little bit nervous. I was scared. For 15 years of my grown-up life, I had known that show. I had, it was routine, so it was very different. And I ended up going on until June. So I extended it for 2 months without a contract or anything. I mean, and some of the stations, it was kind of funny because they had already replaced our show with something else because we said, okay, April is going to be the end. So then come, May or whatever it was, they had already filled the time slot with something. They had something prepared. And so there were only really a few stations that kind of hung on when I was like, can I have one more month? Okay, let's do one more month after that. Okay, so 2 more months and that's it. And so finally they're like, are you going off the air or not? Just get off. And so we did our final shows in Nashville. We ended up taping 2 of them, I believe, right? I don't know. We did 2 of them. And it was kind of fun, right? I'm going to travel. It was during Corona, so a lot of places were shut down. Nashville, though, was reopening. But still nobody could fly. But as a journalist, I was able to. And it was there was this sense of relief because like people don't realize that when we were taping these shows, it was like we were live on location. Meanwhile, we weren't. We taped it, in advance. And the last segment was at the Grand Ole Opry on the stage, at the very center of the stage, in the circle, the famed circle. And we taped it as the last segment on like a Wednesday, but I was still there for another day. And right from there, I went and taped like 2 other segments that day. So even my last segment was not the last segment. But when we did I think the last segment was at the zoo. Was that the very last thing that we did? Because I got my face painted at the zoo. Because I was like, you know what, whatever. This is the last day. Let me just... And the marketing guy was like, yeah, fine, get your face painted. And there was just something when there was this sigh of relief going, it's all done. And you don't know how you're going to feel, right? It's like your last day of work. Although I'm still here and we still produce other things. But you're kind of like, you're either relieved... Right? Retirement, right? People will generally feel either happy or it's like, oh, I've worked at this place for 30 years. I don't know what to do on Monday. But I honestly, truly felt, you know what, at 39 years old, I'm retiring. I still do a little bit here and there just for something to do, right? I don't need to do this podcast. I don't need the money. I don't need it because I've got, where I'm good. But it's still just something to do. It's fun. I love talking. I love creating, so I do it. And that summer, again, because it was Corona and things were still sort of shut down, I loved doing Sweet Fuck All. And truthfully, I've got to say, our mornings now, my husband he'll work out. He used to work out first thing in the morning. So when I would wake up at like 6 o'clock, he would then go downstairs to the gym that we have in the house. And I would do my radio things. He would go down with the dogs to keep them busy and not disrupt me when I was in my home studio. And now it's like we wake up at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I go into the bath for an hour and a half. He goes to the gym. Sorry, we wake up at 10:30. I go to the bath until noon. He goes to the gym from whatever time until noon. We reconvene. We have lunch. We'll walk the dogs. We'll, maybe lay in the yard. We'll go shopping. We'll do something. And it's just, there's no concept of time for most of our days. And it's very, very strange. It's really weird. I got to tell you, everybody thinks that retirement's great. It is, but it throws you for a loop. You are not prepared for it. You really aren't. Because, like I say, when in North America, we have this sort of mentality of hump day, and then you're just looking forward to the weekend, right? And then when you wake up on Friday, you have this energy because it's like, yes, the weekend is here. When you're retired, and this is where I feel, again, like that old curmudgeon, I can't stand the weekend now because that's when everybody's around. I like being able to wake up, and if we go to the mall on a Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, you don't have kids running around, it's not crowded with people. I don't want to go to the stores on the weekend. I just don't. I don't know. There's just something nice. I love walking the dogs in the daytime when there's not a million people around. You're not passing 50,000 other people walking their dog on a nice night. It's just, I like that. So that's where, you have people like on a Sunday night who are dreading like, oh, Monday, fuck, it's back to work tomorrow. I don't feel that way. And even then, because like I said, we have we've got our swimwear company. My husband has a coffee company. We've got the podcast. We've got books. I still write a newspaper column. I'm doing entertainment headlines, which again, I tape them at night and they run first thing in the morning. I'm not waking up. I'm not awake at 6 a.m. when I'm on the radio. But it's still just little fun pockets of things that I do because it's just fun to do. The Top 40 Music Show was very, very time consuming because I had to be in meetings, we had to do advertising, we had to do promos, we had to tape celebrity guests, we had to do this, we had to do prize giveaways, on location stuff, we were traveling, we were doing red carpets, we were, everywhere. And again, it's fun. I'm not bitching about it. It was a great time. Really, I was paid to vacation. I mean, come on. But like I said, once you're out of it, once you remove yourself from it, you're kind of like, it was a great time. And people asked me when I first ended the show, and they will still ask me now, like, do you regret giving it up? Or, do you want to host it again? And I said, well, I still host this. I host the podcast. Would I want to do that, 2-hour show and giveaways and red carpets and whatever? No. I can confidently say no. It's because it's a time in your life where just leave it, let it be. When they reboot all these TV shows and you're kind of like, oh yeah, my favorite show's coming back. And then you're just like, well, you guys fucked that. You guys screwed that up. Now I hate the show. Now I resent it. Will and Grace was a perfect example. I loved the show the first run. You've got that nostalgia when the new season, when it comes back, you're like, oh, my favorite characters, there's Jack and Karen. And then you're like, it's not the same. There's something missing. It's just not right. It just wasn't. And same like with Fuller House too. You're like, I want the core cast. I don't care about the kids. Or when Roseanne came back, right? And then they turned it into the Connors. That's fine when they fired Roseanne, but make it about the main family. I don't care about the kids. Or the kids of the kids, excuse me. I don't care about the kids. I care about the main Connor kids, right? Dan and Roseanne's kids. DJ, Becky, Darlene. I want to see their lives now. Now that they've got 2-3 kids each, I'm like, I don't care about the kids. Because when you were growing up, you cared about those main characters back then. I don't care about the kids of the kids now. I want that original cast to come back and like pick up like no time has passed. So would I go back and all of a sudden start hosting Top of the Charts again tomorrow? I would not. You could offer me a platform on like Sirius XM and a 6-figure or 7-figure pay. I have no interest in doing that, because also you have to realize that, or should we take a break? They're rushing me off here, because also too the entertainment industry has changed, the broadcasting industry has changed. Everybody has a podcast now. Everybody has a YouTube channel. Everybody has a TikTok. Everybody has a this. Everybody has a that, and I don't want to compete, because back then not everybody had a radio show. Not everybody had a podcast. So there was something a little bit more special about it. You had to compete with others, but it wasn't like endless at that point. So how do you stand out nowadays? You've got to be outrageous. You've got to be what? So it's just, people don't have that loyalty to programming anymore. They just don't. And that's why I have no interest, because you always have to then up your game and like take it one step further, because they're going to lose interest. The audience is going to lose interest and move on to the next thing. And I totally get that. I mean, it happens with this podcast. We see the stats. I know that it goes up and down sometimes. If I do an interview for something, or on a station, or if I do an entertainment thing or whatever, we see a bump. We see the traffic stats when it comes to our celebrity interviews or the podcast, whatever. I know that it ebbs and flows. That's just the nature of the business. So, but to be, I know that I'll never be a Howard Stern or Ryan Seacrest. I've never been delusional like that. But even then, like those guys, you almost kind of want to say to them, like, when is enough enough? Like, are you still, Howard Stern has had to evolve over the years, right? He's had to sort of mature as he's got older. He's not going to have, lesbian stripper playing bongo on their butts and things anymore. He's having more sort of intelligent conversation. He's still making his crude comments and things, but, so yeah, 15 years, with top 40 music that I wasn't into and celebrities that I'd never heard of. I mean, we did a red carpet, we did the AMAs, and we were getting all these like YouTubers that I was supposed to be interviewing. And I'm like, I've never heard of you. I've never seen your videos, but this is the caliber of what celebrity is now. I'm like, I'm not into it. I'm just not. So again, do I sound like a grumpy old man? Perhaps. But what I'm saying is that since I retired, at 39 and now I'm 41, I'm loving it. I love the fact that there's no structure to my day. It's so weird, right? Because as much as I hate change and I like things to be just the way they always were, there's something about once you remove yourself from it, it's like, wow. I love that I'm not having to watch the clock and go, uh-oh, I've got to get back from lunch. Uh-oh, I've got to... If we do lunch at 11 o'clock or we do it at 1:30 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, that's just fine. And it's fucking awesome. So, we're going to take a quick break and back with birthday boy Jeremy Bradley on the Scribble right after this.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt, your shoulder hurts, and your back. Oh my God, your back. They're constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here is something you haven't tried. Pain Absolve. Pain Absolve is not available in any drugstore. The only way to get it is by calling today. We're so confident that it will work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription needed, and best of all, each purchase comes with a money-back guarantee. Call now to find out how you can get Pain Absolve and get rid of your pain. Call 800-319-0582. That's 800-319-0582. 800-319-0582. Call today. 800-319-0582.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
JB here, back on the Scribble. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking through old family photos. When I was a teenager, I published a family newsletter every month. I was big into Microsoft Publisher and writing, obviously, because that's what I still do. And I would every month put together just like a recap of what was happening in the family, because at that time everybody, like my cousins, were starting to have kids, so our family was growing, and it was getting a little bit harder to keep track of everybody and what was going on. So I was kind of the editor, so you had something in the family to report, and it was also just kind of a log, right, of memory, a time capsule, if you will. So because I still have all of the photos from all these things, and again, I was doing this almost 25 years ago or so. And then I would do special editions. So once I actually got into professional writing, I kind of stopped because I had this attitude of, well, I'm now a paid writer, so I'm not doing this shit for free now for the family. But I would do it, because I got married or something, I would still just do it because I loved writing and it was fun. So I have, CD-ROMs of all of the photos from different family get-togethers from like 25 years ago. And it was hilarious because I was looking at some pictures of, my parents are now obviously, my dad's close to 70 anyway. And you just sort of look, everybody's aged. I'm not saying that I haven't aged. But when you just look at the overall disposition, because we had, random family photos in, backyards if we had a summer birthday or we had a wedding. And I notice now, and I was laughing with a family friend who was in some of the photos, I was sending them to her. And I was like, God, look at how happy my brother and his wife were back then. And fast forward, almost 20 years, they're just miserable fucking people now. And so the funny thing was, though, I was looking at the pictures of myself. And again, remember, I was either a teenager or I was perhaps early 20s in some of the instances. But I was looking at it because she was in some of the pictures with me. And I said, look at how much fun we're having. And it's funny because I got together with her a week or so, last Wednesday. So yeah, a little over a week ago, I got together with her. And again, I'm 41 now. She's 43. And it was like, we were still doing these goofy, selfies. And it's like, we were just being playful and fun. And I said, so I was scrolling through all these different pictures that I had on my phone. And then I was emailing her a bunch of them that I had on the CD. And I said, I'm still the fun, upbeat, lively person. And so it prompted us to have this discussion about a bunch of people in our families, because I know her family as well. And because I've got pictures of her family members at our family get-togethers, because at the wedding, right? You invite people from both sides and whatever. And she's like, yeah, look at even my aunt so-and-so is just, just seems to have this pleasant, this happy smile. Because you can only, if you know people well enough, you can tell when they're faking it, right? And I said, yeah, but look at, I still am a happy person. I was still funny and silly and stupid back then. And I said, look at, we did almost kind of a similar selfie, because selfies weren't a thing back then, but it was still just a goofy picture of us. But then we did a selfie, and I said, look at, we've aged, yes, but we still have that fun disposition. Like, we're just still lively, happy people. So we're out of time. I gotta go. My name is Jeremy Bradley. I'm 41 years old, 41 fucking years old. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some